Chapter 4. Clarity. Set and align intention. Clarity is the counterbalance of profound thoughts. Luc de Clapiers. If someone asked you, what do you want? What are your ambitions you're pursuing? What are you good at? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? What are the plans you have for the next 6 to 12 months? What is required of you in terms of knowledge, skills, abilities, focus, attention to achieve what you want? What drives and motivates you at the deepest levels? What does a great quality of life look like for you? Who do you want to become? How would you answer those questions? Would you answer confidently, quickly, with certainty? Would you hesitate or eloquently answer and convey what you want to share? Would you answer clearly and convey that you know what success means to you? Or would you hesitate, feeling caught off guard, as these clearly are things you haven't spent much time considering? This is clarity. Knowing what you want, why you want it, what you value, who you are, and who you want to become. And it's this clarity, or the lack of it, that forms the first big predictor of whether you will achieve what you want and live the life you truly desire or not. And research proves it. In multiple studies, the people who can answer questions like those ones above more quickly, more clearly, more confidently, with more certainty and less hesitation are those who have achieved more in the past and go on to achieve more in the future across all areas of one's life: career, health and fitness, relationships, overall happiness, and emotional well-being. In other words, the data shows if you have clarity in your ambitions, you know exactly and specifically what you want, you're far more likely to get it, which is common sense too. However, it's not just about generic, vague ambitions, I want success or I want to be happy, but rather about true, real, personalized, and crystallized clarity. That's what's required. It has to resonate and be meaningful to you. Do that and you've taken the first step to creating anything extraordinary in your life. Are you going in the wrong direction? Have you ever started walking or driving somewhere only to later realize that you're going in the wrong direction? I'm sure you've had this experience in your life before. I know I have. It feels very unproductive, doesn't it? Yet, how often in our own lives do we pursue things that we think we want, going after something, going through the motions, looking to maximize effectiveness, only to later realize that the direction may have been wrong to begin with? Don Herold, as I started this section with, put it best when he said, "Unhappiness is not knowing what we want and killing ourselves to get it." We go after things we think we want, killing ourselves to get them, only to later realize that it wasn't what we actually wanted. Or worse, not knowing what we want in the first place and just swaying with the winds of culture, tradition, social pressure, and countless shiny objects that are available to us, never truly stopping to realize what we deeply want, what we value, why we're doing what we're doing, and where we want to get to. If you don't know where you're heading, you're going to get lost. A pilot wouldn't start flying somewhere without first checking the course. A train conductor wouldn't get the train into motion without first verifying its direction. So why would we go through our lives without contemplating where we're going, what we want, or what's going to make our lives magnificent? What this section is about is exactly this, helping you get crystallized clarity and ambition. It was Abraham Lincoln who famously said, "Give me 5 hours to chop down a tree and I will spend the first 4 sharpening the axe." Well, in our lives, sharpening the axe is not just developing knowledge, skills, and understanding, but also, and most importantly, gaining clarity about what we want to begin with. Develop this sense of direction, and just as the research shows, your odds of turning the possibilities that are available to you into reality are skewed in your favor. Plus, as you develop this sense of clarity in your life, you feel on purpose, filled with meaning and fueled by direction. It fuels your motivation, and challenges become easier to overcome. Research has shown that the reward centers in the human brain are triggered by the potential of reward, e.g. setting a goal or just imagining the achievement of something or spotting a new opportunity, in a similar way as they do when you actually achieve it. This, of course, brings us greater motivation, inspiration, and drives us to take action. Beyond all of this, though, clarity not just helps you achieve what you want, but is shown to bring incredible new levels of happiness, meaning, and quality of life. Those who feel like they are on course in life, doing what they truly love doing, knowing what they want and acting accordingly, as we'll explore in this chapter, are happier, more joyous, and more fulfilled. It's time to start living life by design, to take responsibility and create your life instead of by default following others or things around you. It's time to take greater clarity, develop it in your life. Creating clarity, piece by piece. When people talk about clarity and knowing what you want, they assume that these are things that people stumble upon. Like in a movie, in one moment, clarity just washes over you. A great epiphany out of nowhere. Clarity just hits them over the head one day with all the answers to life. This is rarely, if ever, the case in the real world. Clarity is not just something that happens. A more accurate comparison and metaphor is that of a jigsaw puzzle. If you sit down every day and you put pieces together, with time all the pieces will go into place and you will have a grand picture that you created. In this case, clarity, if you put the pieces together, you'll have this grand picture of what you want in life. Each puzzle piece in this metaphor represents time spent thinking, asking yourself questions, reflecting or journaling, letting your mind wander into the future to see what's available to you, focusing on deep thoughts and questions about your existence, exploring new possibilities, testing new things and identifying what resonates with you and what doesn't. And just like you build a jigsaw puzzle piece by piece, you build a strong sense of clarity in your life in that same way, through constant thinking, experimentation, testing and putting pieces together in your life. Pun intended. Except unlike a puzzle, the seeking of greater and greater clarity never ends. It's an infinite process of iteration. Think about it. You probably want different things today than you did 10 years ago. You may want some of the same stuff, but details in the final puzzle of what you really want may have changed and will continue to change as you experience more of life. Clarity is an ongoing, never-ending process of experience, of experiencing life and evaluating or re-evaluating what you truly want, value, and find meaningful to you. And it's created not through one magical moment where everything in your life just comes together, but in the day in, day out thoughts, considerations, and exploration that makes it possible. Once again, the research proves this. When follow-up studies were conducted to uncover why some could answer the questions that we started this chapter with more quickly, more confidently, and with more certainty, with less hesitation than others, these individuals reported thinking, reflecting on, and talking even about their ambitions more often than those who didn't have that same sense of clarity. For these individuals, questions like the ones at the start of this chapter were not just fleeting thoughts a few times a year, like for most people, but a frequent ongoing part of their lives. Compare this to what most people do, just going through the motions of life, not thinking about anything bigger, not creating their life, or only stopping a few times a year to think about it. Birthdays, crises, and when the calendar flips on New Year's. Those are pretty much the only times most people stop to ask what they really want in life. Other than that, they just go through the motions of each day, of each routine. Meanwhile, those who have a strong sense of clarity and as a result are more likely to achieve what they want, experience the reality they desire, think about this more often and more deeply. They're in a constant process, a never-ending process of thinking about, reflecting on, clarifying, assessing, planning, and adjusting their ambitions to what they truly want. This brings us on to the first exercise. Exercise. Thinking time. Beyond just the results of the follow-up studies on clarity, there are numerous cases in which top CEOs, for example, will actually schedule 10 to 30 minutes each week, or for some each day, just to think about their future, the future of the company, the future of the brand, what they want their business and brand to stand for and represent in the future. Time to think about goals, ambitions, and aspirations for the companies they are leading, as well as their own personal goals outside of work. This exercise is a chance for you to do the same once, now, and if you choose to, consistently, which is highly recommended. Firstly, before you keep listening to this audiobook, just pause it. Pause it for 10 to 15 minutes and think about this. Like these top CEOs, schedule time in right now to think about the future and what you want. To just think, perhaps write if you want. Then, you can also schedule specific thinking time into your calendar on timeframes that work for you. This is an exercise and it's profound, assuming you do it, not just skip it. The research shows this is one of the things that helps create clarity, which in turn helps you achieve more. And this is what many successful people do in their own lives to give themselves an edge, and you can too, starting with this exercise. So pause this audiobook now and do it now. Schedule time to just think. It's not a waste of your time. It's some of the best time you can ever spend. Just think about what you truly want, why you want it, and imagine and visualize and use that time to really clarify and answer those questions we started this chapter with, and schedule it regularly. That's this exercise. And the next exercise here, I also added in this part of the book, is journaling. More than just thinking about life, writing it down has also shown to be a powerful practice, labeled journaling. Plus, as you search through history, you'll find it's filled with extraordinary people who kept a journal, regularly taking time to pause and just write, often daily, every morning or every evening. Throughout history, examples include Marcus Aurelius, Benjamin Franklin, Mark Twain, and George Lucas, amongst others. And you can build this habit into your rituals too, allowing yourself to write down your thoughts, express questions you've been pondering, and continually seeking for clarity through journaling. Use these two exercises here to start getting into this habit of developing greater clarity. And this process of thinking, mentally exploring, and clarifying is, whether we realize it or not, fueled by curiosity. In fact, curiosity is the path to clarity. Clarity comes from the willingness to engage not just in small talk with one's own mind, but in asking the bigger, more existential questions, in deep exploration, playing with possibilities, until slowly the puzzle pieces fall into place and the next level of clarity is attained. Curiosity, knowing that there is something you may not yet know and wanting to figure it out, is the path that when you walk gives you clarity, which in turn helps you achieve things and get greater meaning in life. As Eleanor Roosevelt once said, I think at a child's birth, if a mother could ask a fairy godmother to endow it with the most useful gift, that gift should be curiosity. Or as Walt Disney put it, we keep moving forward, opening new doors and doing new things because we're curious, and curiosity keeps leading us down new paths. By being curious, we open ourselves to new answers, new clarity for what is real and what is worthy of us engaging in. And the foundation of being curious, as you'll likely already know, is the act of asking questions. We must begin to question again, to question what is around us, to ask questions about our lives, our future, possibilities, and what is available to us. By asking these questions, the answers begin to appear. If you hold the question of, what do I really value and find meaningful in my life in your mind long enough, you will start to find answers. Those answers build your sense of clarity about life and put you on a path to bigger and better things. The important thing is to not stop questioning. Curiosity has its own reason for existing, Albert Einstein once said. It's the reason children learn so fast as well. Thinking about the tremendous strides in growth, understanding, and ability a newborn displays in just the first 10 years of life, this is largely thanks to their incredible innate curiosity. They ask questions all the time. What is this? How does this work? Why does this work? Why can't I do this? Who is this? Why should I do that? And while parents may find this irritating, and the education system can largely take this out of children, as Einstein also said, it is a miracle that curiosity survives formal education, his words, not mine, this curiosity is actually the greatest gift for clarity. We must return to this curious state by beginning to ask questions again, to question what we know and what we've done up until now in search for something greater. As Sylvia Earle once said, the best scientists and explorers have the attributes of kids. They ask a question and have a sense of wonder. They have curiosity. Who, what, where, why, when, and how. They never stop asking questions. And I never stop asking questions, just like a 5-year-old. That's the path of clarity, which not only helps them achieve more, but gives them a greater sense of happiness, as clarity is often the difference between joy and misery, as we'll also explore in this chapter. First though, we're going to build on the previous understanding to form this connection between clarity and achievement. To answer the questions, why exactly does clarity, knowing what you want, help you achieve that thing? Let's dive in. What you seek is what you'll find. Why clarity leads to achievement. My favorite words are possibilities, opportunities, and curiosity. I think if you're curious, you create opportunities. And then if you open the doors, you create possibilities. Mario Testino. First and foremost, our ambitions are part of who we are. And as you know from chapter 2 of this audiobook, we filter possibilities, opportunities, and situations, various forms of information, differently based on who we are, or more specifically, what we've been primed and conditioned to focus on. So by clarifying your ambitions and reminding yourself of what you truly want, you're conditioning yourself to pay attention to things differently, to spot new opportunities and possibilities you may have not seen before you set that goal, to seize opportunities differently, to react and respond in new ways. To best explain this, let me ask you this. Have you ever looked through catalogs or searched online to find the exact thing that you want? You found something you really liked, a specific model of a car, a certain watch, a certain type of jacket, etc. And as soon as you found that thing that you really liked, you suddenly started to see it everywhere. That car, that watch, that jacket or thing, whatever it was, everywhere. You never realized that that jacket, car, watch, gadget, app was so popular. But now that you saw it in that catalog and you liked it, you seem to see it everywhere. People are driving, wearing, using that same thing you wanted all the time. Another example, you learned a new word and you started hearing it everywhere around you when before you didn't hear that word being used at all. Or another, you're in a crowd of people and you're able to tune out what they say, not focus on it. However, when they say your name or something that sounds similar to your name, you recognize it immediately and listen. Has that ever happened to you? This group may have been talking for half hour, saying a total of something like 3,000 words perhaps, yet your mind didn't pay attention to 2,999 of them. You couldn't record them, you didn't listen to them, and only focused when you heard the one word that sounded like your name, or was in fact your name. These are all examples of your mind reacting appropriately to what it's been primed and conditioned to spot. It's not like that car wasn't around you, or that watch or that gadget wasn't around you, or that word you learned wasn't being used. It's just that you weren't primed to spot it. It was all around you all along, but your mind didn't pick it up. Just when you go and read a book or watch a movie again, except this time you spot something new you didn't see last time. It works the same way. This is also one of the common explanations for manifestation, or the law of attraction. When you go to manifest something, you condition your mind to look out for certain things that you end up finding. They may have been there all along, all around you, however you didn't realize them before. Now you do because you've primed yourself to do so. Knowing all of this, we can condition ourselves to spot new information, new possibilities, and new opportunities around us by consciously implanting what we want to focus on. For example, if I told you to count everything around you that was of a certain color, for example, brown, your mind would instantly hyper-focus on that which is brown, counting all of it. Previously, you may have not focused on these things. The brown button on your friend's jacket, the brown text on that box in the corner of the room, the brown spots on the lion painting hanging in your room. Previously, you may have not have noticed that. Why? Because your mind is filtering that information around you differently based on what in this case, I've conditioned it to focus on. See, there are literally thousands of different things you could be focusing on at any moment in just your immediate environment. At any moment, your mind could choose to focus on these things or not. The things, objects, people around you, however, you don't. There's no way your mind can pay attention to everything at the same time. So your mind makes choices. It pays attention to that which is important, useful, valuable, necessary, as well as aligned with who you are above all else. However, once again, these aren't just pretty metaphors and examples. This is how your brain works and how we do what we do, biologically and psychologically. It's part of who you are. In fact, dissect your brain and you'll find in it what is called the reticular activating system, or for short, the RAS, reticular activating system. This bundle of nerves at your brainstem are the part of your brain in charge of exactly what we're talking about here, filtering incoming information and bringing to your conscious attention, to your thoughts, only that which is important, useful, valuable, necessary, and aligned with who you are above all else, and discarding or not prioritizing the rest. See, our brains are incredibly complex, as is the world around us. Billions of bits of information are created and processed by us all day long, over and over. It never ends, and somehow our brains don't explode. Why is this? Because we don't consciously process everything around us, but merely a small part of it that our mind considers important to us. thanks to the help of the reticular activating system. And this is first and arguably greatest explanation for why gaining clarity, knowing what you want, and setting ambitions for your life helps you achieve it. It's because as soon as you know what you want, and especially when you think about it and imagine it often, over and over again, as in the case of the study that we started this chapter with, you condition your mind to filter information differently so that you see that which you previously may not have seen. New possibilities and opportunities seem to appear out of nowhere, but in reality, they were there all along. Except because before they were being filtered out. They were discarded as not important, not relevant, not useful information. But now that they're aligned with who you are and what you want, your brain is filtering those same opportunities, that same information, as important and useful. Therefore, it's being brought to your conscious mind, your conscious attention. I remember years ago when I first heard the phrase seek and you shall find, and I got a little confused by it. Back then, I didn't understand this, what you're learning here in this audiobook. However, as I researched it, learning how the brain operates, as you're listening to right here, as it turns out, the phrase is spot on. Seek long enough with a specific clear image or goal in your mind, just like the color brown in that example, and you will find something that matches that because your brain has been conditioned to look out for it. Hence, by constantly seeking clarity about important things in your life, focusing on what you want, outlining your ambitions and pursuing them, what you're doing is conditioning your mind into new possibilities, new opportunities, and new life. That's why in this chapter, we're going to explore various frameworks for gaining clarity, starting with the most important aspect of all. Motive. Why more important than what? Millions saw the apple fall, but Newton was the one who asked why. Bernard Baruch. We get so often obsessed with the what, and assuming it's the first place to start when it comes to clarity and goal setting. What we're going after, what ambitions we're pursuing, what actions we're taking, what things are on our to-do list every day. But research shows us the motive, the why behind your ambitions and actions actually matters much more in terms of happiness, motivation, inspiration, creativity, and fulfillment. Or simply put, why we do what we do matters much more than what we do or how we do it for the things we value most. This isn't just some inspirational jibber jabber, but based on over half a century of research looking at human motivation. See, our understanding of what motivates us, human beings, has evolved a lot over time. And it's the author of many books on the topic of business, economics, and behavioral science, Daniel Pink, who conveys this information best by comparing our understandings of motives and motivation behind our actions to that of software and development. In his book, Drive, The Surprising Truth About What Motivates Us, he describes these upgrades in our knowledge as motivation 1.0, motivation 2.0, motivation 3.0. This is critical to understand. It's what I'm going to share with you right now. Motivation 1.0 refers to our first foundational understanding of what motivates us, which is our biological urges, our basic human needs. If there's a lion running towards you, you're going to be motivated to do something about it, whether you like it or not. You don't need to sit there and journal or visualize your goals turning into reality. Motivation is automatic, fight or flight. Your body even reacts biochemically, raising your cortisol levels. Cortisol is the stress hormone, to make you take action. This first level of motivation, motivation 1.0, served us well in the past when the world was more dangerous. We were in constant threat from predators, and our main goal in life was mere survival. With time, more was required now. Now, don't get me wrong, this first level of motivation, 1.0, is still applicable today. It operates every single day. Abraham Maslow best theorized this in his 1943 paper, A Theory of Human Motivation, in which he first introduced us, the world, to the now household Maslow's hierarchy of human needs. And in the book, you'll see a graphic of the human needs, where at the bottom you see psychological needs, basic human needs such as food, water, warmth, rest. Above that, you see safety needs, security, safety. Above that, you see psychological needs, belonging and love needs, intimate relationships, friendships. Above that, you see esteem needs, prestige, and feelings of accomplishment. And lastly, at the top of this pyramid shape, the graphic is a pyramid shape, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. At the top, you see self-actualization, achieving one's full potential, including creative activities. At the bottom is basic human needs, basic survival. At the top is self-fulfillment needs. He shared in that study, in this Maslow's hierarchy of needs, that the base of everything is our basic human needs. These include the needs of water, food, shelter, and sleep. If we're in a constant state of absence in these areas, we don't have these fulfilled, we aren't going to see anything greater until those needs are met. For example, you're unlikely to be concerned about your legacy, your spiritual practices, or your work in your community if your basic needs are not met and you're roaming the streets as a homeless person, starving, thirsty, cold, and with no place to stay. The first step is to meet your basic needs, and Motivation 1.0, our biological urges, help us at this level. When you're hungry, thirsty, or you want sleep, your brain and body signal this to you and you're automatically motivated to act accordingly. Behind this though, our biological urges don't motivate us to do anything more than merely survive. Which means if you want to not just survive, but thrive in life, to create something extraordinary, to enjoy life, experience a magnificent existence and experience on this planet, Motivation 1.0 isn't going to help you get there. And that's why as society evolved with the introduction, that was the introduction, conception, and practice of Motivation 2.0. The second upgrade to our understanding of why we do what we do now included the extrinsic, external motives for action. The idea that to motivate ourselves or others, we must incentivize or reward the behavior we want more of and punish the behavior we want less of. Or, as the commonly referred to as the carrot and stick approach. That's Motivation 2.0. The idea was to motivate human beings. Like a donkey, you dangle a carrot, money, status, rewards of sorts, while using a stick to beat out unwanted behaviors, a punishment, getting grounded as a child, getting a fine, being punished in some way. Reward and punishment, positive and negative reinforcement. Just like you would train a dog or a dolphin, that was our understanding of why we did what we did. Beyond biological urges, Motivation 1.0, we did that which we were rewarded for and didn't do that which we would be punished for. And this became our main method of motivating ourselves and others to do anything. Businesses dangled carrots, incentives, to employees to make them work harder, and punished unwanted behaviors. Pay someone more, financial incentive, and they work harder. Pay someone and they punish someone and they don't repeat that behavior. Parents rewarded or punished children with gold stars, allowances, praise, and punished them by grounding them or taking away their tablet or game consoles. Much of what we experience today and why people do what they do is based on this understanding of motivation, version 2.0. The idea is that we only do things for extrinsic, external reasons, and that's what we must use to get ourselves and others to do anything. That's until 1949, when Professor of Psychology Harry Harlow made a discovery about something new understandings to human motives and human motivation. He gave 8 monkeys a mechanical puzzle. However, since the primates wouldn't receive any reward, such as food or praise, nor would they get punished for not completing the task, no extrinsic motivation, he was convinced the monkeys would not concern themselves with it. To his surprise, the monkeys gave the puzzle a go, recognized how it works, and without any extrinsic external incentives outside of themselves, solved it with great enjoyment. They repeated playing with the puzzle until they were able to solve it fairly quickly. This brought into question our understanding of why we do what we do. The monkeys were not motivated by biological urges, Motivation 1.0, nor were they motivated by extrinsic rewards, Motivation 2.0, reward or punishment, so they shouldn't have been motivated to do something with the puzzle. But they were. Similar experiments were performed on more intelligent, more aware, smarter monkeys, also known as human beings, which confused the researchers and challenged what we know about human motives for action. Perhaps there was another level of motivation at play here. It wasn't until 2 decades later, the idea that there was more to motivation than biological urges and extrinsic motivation, that was taken seriously. It got attention when 2 researchers, Edward Dietschy and Richard Ryan, performed various experiments building on what Harry Harlow had previously found. They wrote about it in their 1975 book, Intrinsic Motivation. And in the following years, continued research kept resulting in similar conclusions, that when a task is enjoyable within itself, external stimulus is not required. It's this work that moved us to a new understanding of motivation, upgrading us to Motivation 3.0, as Daniel Pink called it. This new understanding, 3.0, now included not just extrinsic motivation, but also factored in the greater power of intrinsic motivation. The idea that when a task is fulfilling, we find it interesting as it worthwhile within itself. No external reward is required to motivate us to do it. And that brings us to one of the core and most useful categorizations we have of motivation today. Outside of Motivation 1.0, our basic human needs, motivation beyond this level can be divided into intrinsic or extrinsic motivation. And here you see a graphic in the book of the separation. Intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation with the definitions. Intrinsic motivation. Motivation to do something for its own sake, for an internal, innate benefit you get from an activity. Extrinsic motivation. Motivation to do something for an external reason, to earn a reward, financial incentive, avoid punishment besides the task itself. And you also see categories of giving some examples. Intrinsic motivation, learning to a topic or skill because you find it interesting or enjoyable. Participating in sport because you love it for its own sake. Playing an instrument because you love it and find it meaningful. Building a business because you want to share what you have with the world and gain more freedom. Compared to extrinsic motivation, which is examples things like learning a topical skill to get a good grade or avoid punishment from your parents. Participating in a sport to win a trophy or to make your parents proud. Playing an instrument to impress other people or make money for rent. Building a business and making money to be popular, to keep up with the Joneses and to make your friends proud or envious or jealous or whatever. While we're mostly aware of this first basic categorization of motivation, intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation, what you may not know is how this affects our happiness and joy. And it's the reason why this was added into this chapter here in the first place, why I wrote it there. And that's why we have to continue on to this next part. The effect of living for external motives. In the 1980s, scientist Tim Kasser and his team of researchers set out to test how living life for external or extrinsic motives, money, social status and popularity, approval from others or material possessions, impacted one's level of happiness, joy and overall well-being in life, compared to doing things for internal, intrinsic reasons. And now you know the difference, intrinsic versus extrinsic. What the researchers found at first shocked them. The results showed that people who achieved goals with external motives, such as money, social status, or material things, over time showed no increase in day-to-day happiness. Absolutely none. Sure, they were happy at the moment, but that happiness didn't last. It dissipated quickly. In the same way that nobody walks around happy about a financial target they hit last year or a new watch or car they bought 2 years ago, it was a short spike of happiness, kind of like when you get a hit of energy after drinking a coffee or an energy drink, but it quickly faded away in these people, and they needed another hit of happiness again. What this means is while your new watch, your new iPhone, hitting 1 million followers, or a big commission check may give you a short jolt of happiness, it's unlikely to affect you day-to-day ongoing happiness, just like the coffee you drank last week doesn't affect your energy level today. The researchers also discovered that people who lived their lives dominated by external, extrinsic values had a worse time in almost every respect. They felt physically worse, were angrier, experienced less joy in life, had worse relationships, and even felt more insecure. On the flip side, those who pursued goals that motivated them intrinsically, goals such as, in the case here, like being a better parent, dancing for the sheer joy of it, or helping others, became significantly happier, less depressed, and less anxious in their lives, meaning their happiness actually lasted. This time, a better metaphorical comparison is not that of a coffee or an energy drink, but that of hitting the gym as a method of increased energy. It lasts. You go to the gym to work out, and now you have a day-to-day basis where you feel greater strength and energy. That's how intrinsic motivation affects your happiness. In another study, graduates of the University of Rochester were asked about their main ambitions and aims in life. While some shared about extrinsic goals, e.g., profit targets they wanted to hit, ambitions to become rich and famous, others specified more meaningful intrinsic goals to develop themselves personally or to help others, for example, by working in international aid organizations. Some years later, the researchers interviewed those initial participants to find out how things had turned out for them. The students with profit goals, extrinsic motivation, were no more content with their lives than before, despite many of them having achieved the positions as managers in large firms and earning large paychecks. In fact, those in these extrinsically motivated group suffered from depression and anxiety more frequently than those who are motivated more intrinsically, who report to achieving greater happiness in life and only rarely suffered from depression or anxiety like the extrinsically motivated group. In fact, 22 different studies have been done and have all found that the more materialistic and extrinsically motivated you are, the more depressed and anxious you will be. As Joseph Campbell once said, philosophically, we're so engaged in doing things to achieve purposes of outer value that we forget the inner value. The rapture that is associated with being alive, it is what is all about. Or as Democritus once put it, happiness resides not in possession and not in gold. Happiness dwells in the soul. However, it doesn't stop there. Studies have also shown that people who are intrinsically motivated are far more creative, more inspired, often perform better, productivity, and report both greater levels of work and life satisfaction. See, the difference between intrinsic and extrinsic motivation for happiness is like the difference between fool's gold and real gold. On the surface, they look exactly the same. It's why gold has to be inspected by an expert, verified. But under the surface, they are very different, and actual real gold over time is many, many more times valuable. Much, much more valuable. In that same way, doing something for intrinsic and extrinsic reason may look exactly the same on the surface. At the end of the day, the actions are exactly the same. Building a business, playing the piano, learning a topical skill, etc. However, the motive, the why behind your actions is the real factor that best determines whether that activity, that project, that goal will really bring you the lasting happiness, creativity, inspiration, joy, and emotional well-being that you want. Is extrinsic motivation bad? It's a very human thing based on our past conditioning to assume that if something shows more promising results than something else, or that certain studies go against the positive effects of something, to assume that it is bad or ineffective. A more realistic view of much of the things in life is that nothing is good or bad all or none of the time. It's why I don't like to use absolute terms, as they are often flawed in understanding. External, extrinsic motivation is not bad, far from it. Allow me to explain. And as I've shared many times before, although there are no rights or wrongs and everything has its pros and cons, it's our job to learn how to use these different tools and methods at the right time. Is a screwdriver good at hitting in a nail? Not ideal, right? A hammer would be a much better, more effective choice. However, for screwing in a screw, the screwdriver is a far more effective choice. Self-mastery, at its core, is about learning these various philosophies, concepts, and tools, as well as knowing when to use them to create and live the life you freely choose for yourself. And the same applies to intrinsic and extrinsic motivation, the motive behind your actions. For example, for less creative and more mechanical tasks, like working on a manufacturing line, filing papers, driving, etc., that don't require creativity, but mere compliance, repetition, and efficiency, research continues to show that extrinsic motivation is the best tool for the job, rewards and punishments, carrots and sticks. Also, as many jobs today still fit into this category of largely mechanical work, although they are fading away in the modern world because of outsourcing, automation, machinery, and advancements in robotics and AI, the world would fall into chaos if the extrinsic motivation wasn't used. It's still a valuable tool, it just needs to be used correctly. Plus, for other tasks, which we don't have any real intrinsic motivation, things that we don't particularly want to do but know we should, extrinsic motivation is a great choice too, like kids doing chores or parents filing taxes. Lastly, extrinsic motivation has shown to be a great gateway for exploring new things that can lead to intrinsic motivation down the line. For example, you may not be intrinsically motivated to play tennis right now simply because you haven't done it before. However, you can use extrinsic, external motivation just to get yourself or someone uses to encourage you to go to your tennis practice. This new exposure to this new sport can lead you to start enjoying it, and when you enjoy it, you become intrinsically motivated to play tennis with your buddies every weekend. It's a great gateway to get you there. The journey versus the destination. In the book, The Happiness Hypothesis, social psychologist Jonathan Haidt wrote, Richard Davidson, the psychologist who brought us affective style and the approach circuits of the front left cortex, writes about two types of positive affect. The first he calls pre-goal attainment positive affect, which is the pleasurable feeling you get as you make progress towards a goal. The second is called post-goal attainment positive affect, which Davidson says arises once you have achieved something you want. You experience this latter feeling as contentment, as a short-lived feeling of release when the left prefrontal cortex reduces its activity after a goal has been accomplished. In other words, when it comes to a goal pursuit, it really is the journey that counts, not the destination. Set for yourself any goal you want. Most of the pleasure will be had along the way with every step that takes you closer. The final moment of success is often no more thrilling than the relief of taking off a heavy backpack at the end of a long hike. If you went on a hike only to feel that pleasure, you are a fool. People sometimes do just this. They work hard at a task and expect some special euphoria at the end. But when they achieve success and find only moderate and short-lived pleasure, they ask, as the singer Peggy Lee once did, is there all there is? They devalue their accomplishments as a striving afterwind. We call this the progress principle. Pleasure comes more from making progress towards goals than from achieving them. Shakespeare captured it perfectly. Things won are done. Joy's soul lies in doing. Extrinsic motivation is about the destination. It assumes that the journey, the task at hand, is not enjoyable, so you have to get rewarded for getting through it and reaching the destination. If there is something you know you should do but you don't want to do it, extrinsic, external motivation is a great tool for you to use in these moments. It will help you endure pain, non-interesting tasks, because of the reward at the end, the reward that's separate from the task itself. Intrinsic motivation is about the journey. It assumes that the journey, what you're actively doing, is the greatest part. The joy of learning, the fulfillment of discovering something new, the happiness of doing something for the reason of just doing it because you love it, like dancing, playing tennis, writing, singing, having a meaningful conversation with someone, your passion, your purpose, your mission, etc. No reward, extrinsic motivation is needed here. If one does show up, that's great and you accept it, but that's not the motive that guides you. That's just a bonus, a side benefit. The intent is the journey. So when a successful athlete talks about loving or being motivated by the game itself, an inspirational speaker talks about loving and enjoying the process, or a guru in a movie talks about enjoying and loving the journey, what they are referring to is intrinsic motivation and its incredible benefits. Extrinsic motivation may be a powerful tool you can use, as you know, but for big picture, joy-driven, fulfillment-fueled ambition setting that's going to give you great motivation, creativity, and meaning in your life, intrinsic motivation is the required tool for the job. And to better understand this, we must explore some of the greatest frameworks we human beings have for human consciousness today, as well as question the meaning of life itself. Highest degrees of consciousness. The higher up you go on Maslow's hierarchy of needs and higher levels of consciousness you want to tap into, the more you're going to need to rely on intrinsic, internal motivation. This is because the very things we value most, happiness, joy, connection, freedom, love, peace, and fulfillment, just like intrinsic motivation, come from within. Plus, these are intangible things. You can't hold them or sell them. You can't sell happiness to someone. You can't sell love or peace. They are more brain chemistry, emotion, internal than they are material or physical. A situation in which you're doing something for an intrinsic reason is often your best bet. See, motivation 1.0, your biology takes care of the base needs for survival, your basic human needs. Beyond that, while extrinsic motivation can do a great job motivating you to a certain point, it can't get you to the highest levels of self-actualization and self-transcendence. Self-transcendence, or just transcendence, is the highest level in Maslow's hierarchy of needs, although it doesn't appear in the initial research conception nor in most of the graphics and explanations that exist on the internet today. This is before his death in 1970. He started to introduce and expand on this idea that there was a higher level beyond self-actualization. Self-actualization refers to the idea that most must fulfill their full potential, and for 2 decades it was the highest level on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the highest human need. Maslow himself said this about it: what a man can be, he must be. This need we call self-actualization. And while self-actualization is a great, lofty, ambitious, and worthy ambition to pursue, Maslow added transcendence as the next level of growth later on, even above self-actualization. As Maslow describes it, transcendence refers to the very highest and most inclusive or holistic level of human consciousness, behaving and relating as ends rather than means, to oneself, to significant others, to human beings in general, to other species, to nature, and to the cosmos. According to Maslow, self-transcendence brings someone what he describes as peak experiences, experiences in which people transcend their own personal concerns to see life from a higher perspective, bringing stronger emotions like joy, peace, and a well-developed sense of awareness. A lot of the teachings of spirituality or similar to it, transcendence is at the top of that pyramid. This also aligns well with what David Hawkins discovered about the various levels of consciousness we can operate at. In the famous map of consciousness, the highest level isn't happiness, love, joy, or bliss, but peace and enlightenment. At this level, one's view of life, including the situations within it, isn't that life is good, bad, perfect, but that life just is. One's existence is all-encompassing and it transcends both time and space. This process is described as pure consciousness. Lastly, this is also what we talked about back in chapter 2. The most inner level of who we are before even our beliefs is energy. We are nothing more than energies and frequencies experiencing life. Pure consciousness, true transcendence. Meaning, it's just what the greatest physicists have told us who we truly are, but it's also what the greatest, most respected theories of human motivation and consciousness point us to that these greater meaning of life, more than what is visible to us right now, and that we must transcend our past, our environment, our body, and the circumstances to fulfill a greater meaning in life, that we are here to experience life fully, truly, in its full possibility. As to how we do this, the specific meaning we associate to our lives and the direction we choose to take it is for us to choose. Self-actualization and transcendence are the highest needs in Maslow's hierarchy, but how we express them can vary. For one person, fulfilling their own potential and transcending to a higher level of consciousness is about maximizing happiness and joy, stepping into unconditional love and feeling true bliss. For some, it's about freedom and choice more than anything else. For others, it's more about giving, while for some, it's about acceptance of what is, what was, and deep introspection. At the end of the day, we choose how we're going to express this in our lives and the meaning we associate to our lives in the first place. That's the ultimate why we must uncover. Big picture. What's the meaning of life? There are 2 great days in a person's life: the day we are born and the day we discover why. William Barclay. What is the purpose of existence? Why are we here and what are we here for? What is the purpose of one's life? What are we living for? Or simply, what is the meaning of life? You may have asked yourself these questions before and may even have gotten some answers, some clarity. Whether you, me, or anyone is ever able to truly answer it, one thing is certain. Just the mere consideration, thinking about these things, elevating so far beyond typical small talk and small-minded thinking can help us gain great clarity. Tune into what truly matters for us just merely thinking about this stuff, giving us greater direction, a why that allows us to make better decisions and live an extraordinary life. As to further probe at this clarity, Here are some popular views, some common answers to the questions for us to consider. What is the meaning of life? Here are some of the common views. Number 1, happiness. To maximize happiness and minimize suffering. To experience life to its fullest. For example, to experience new things, meet new people, do what you find joy in, enjoy life, have fun, to be happy. Number 2, freedom. To live life on your own terms, to seize choice and choose your life freely as you want. For example, to do what you want, when you want, how you want, with who you want, and if you want. Total freedom and choice. Number 3, potential. To realize one's truest potential. To see what is possible and do what you can. For example, to find and chase dreams, to learn, to get as good as you can possibly get on the topics, skills, and areas that you choose to focus on. To strive for excellence and become better every day, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, etc. Number 4, love. To tune in to express and even radiate love. To connect with people, to be kind, caring, and treat others in the absolute best possible, most loving way. To love fully and unconditionally. Number 5, contribution. To live beyond one's own desires, contributing and giving to others. To aid the life, happiness, success, and ability of others. To leave the world, or at least one person's world, a better place than you found it. For example, to add value, to reduce suffering for others, to share and contribute, to bring peace, to give. Next one, peace/enlightenment. To accept that simply is, that life simply is, and to view life without judgment of what is right or wrong, to connect with something beyond oneself and accept all of life unconditionally, to transcend the physical and engage in the spiritual, energetic, and all-encompassing, to see life from a higher perspective, to embody peace and transcendence. These are popular views about the meaning of life, but not to be taken as the only views. You could resonate with one, many, a combination, none, or something completely different. These are just some things to gauge your clarity, gauge your creativity here. Also, while these opinions are similar, many of them, they have a link between them, they are also wildly different and capable of producing a wildly different experience of life. Like a highway with many exits, you can be driving on the same highway in the same direction, but each exit can take you in a slightly different direction and a different destination, a different path. What I found important is personalization here. It's about what resonates and is meaningful to you. Just as nobody can do push-ups for you or go to the bathroom on your behalf, although that's weird to think about, nobody can decide what your meaning of life is except, you guessed it, you. You're in charge here. I found this perhaps the biggest reason for a lot of the sadness, sense of loss, helplessness, depression, and even suicide in this world is that people attempt to live out someone else's life based on someone else's views, opinions, and meanings, as we'll touch on in the next chapter of this audiobook. From an early age, we get pushed into a view of life from those around us instead of given the choice to pick what we really want in life, including the very meaning we choose to give to life itself. It's as if we're given the greatest gift we could possibly receive, life itself, yet told we can only play with this gift in a certain way at certain times and assuming we follow certain rules that others follow as well. And if we play with this gift any different, we get punished by parents, teachers, and society in general. Motivation 2.0, remember? So we become normal, just like everybody else, as we'll explore more. And we grow up with a whole list of things we should do like other people do, even though these things may not completely align with what we want in this adventure of life. And then we sometimes fall into feeling bad for being different, for being unique, for not liking, loving, accepting the things that others around us do. And we continue to repeat and reinforce these beliefs our entire life, forgetting about what we truly want, what we truly desire, and the possibilities that are available to us. Continuing to live out this pattern, living your life only based on the values, opinions, views, and beliefs of others is a surefire way to have an experience of life you may end up regretting. See, if you attempt to live your life based on purely the views, opinions, and meanings of others, you may end up hating this incredible gift of life you were given. Live life as you choose and play with this gift of life as you truly want. And now you are on the path to creating the life you're absolutely overjoyed with. As Joseph Campbell wrote, The meaning of life is whatever you ascribe to it. Ultimately, you get to choose what you value, what you want, and what aligns with you. It's up to you. So perhaps the best question is not what is the meaning of life, but what is the meaning of life for you? As the view of life may be different than that of your friend, your neighbor, your parents, teachers, or anyone else you connect with in this journey. Also, even if asking these big existential questions doesn't bring up any immediate answers, as we talk about, clarity is a lifelong, never ending process of questioning and exploring. Just the sheer act of staying in this thinking, staying with me here in this audiobook with these big concepts is enough that can get you some clarity, some insight that can change your life forever. Exercise. Journal on life's meaning. Take 10 minutes, pause this audiobook. If you're driving, stop over, pull over, or wait until you get to the next exit somewhere on the motorway or you get to work and do this exercise. It's very important. Pause and take 10 minutes without any interruption and just journal. Write as much as you possibly can on this question. What is the meaning of life for you? It doesn't matter what you write, just write. You'll find out one thing will lead to another and another, so just begin. And be open, be curious, and write whatever comes to mind. This clarity, we're seeking clarity here because clarity can change everything for you. Knowing this, our true values and meaning of life, even in part, can help us better reflect on our own motives of doing things in our lives and better decide what is right for us. Assessing your motives. So as you now know, the next time you set an ambition, form a plan in your mind, or put a task on your to-do list, don't just assess what you're doing or pursuing is correct, or whether how the method is good and optimal, but also start with your why. All three are important: how, what, why, but for a magnificent existence, it must start with the why. Assess the motive behind your goals, plans, and actions first, then check the other stuff. This is a critical part of the clarity required to create the life you want. Get used to asking yourself, am I setting this ambition for an extrinsic or an intrinsic reason? What's my motive? Why am I really doing this? Is this ambition, as well as these actions I'm planning on taking today, this week, this month, this year, being motivated by the prospects of some financial reward, popularity, or social status, all forms of extrinsic motivation? Or is it driven from internal drive for something more, something greater, a new version of myself, my highest values and love of the process? Am I going to find fulfillment in the process of what I'm doing here? Is it meaningful and aligned with what I truly want? For example, do you really want that Ferrari because you're a true car fanatic and enjoy the journey and the process of driving new cars, intrinsic? Or do you want that supercar on your vision board because deep down you think it will make you more popular, cooler, your friends jealous, or the destination of owning the car will somehow make you happy, as in, I'll be happy when I have this car and this house. Then I'll finally be happy type of thinking. Extrinsic motivation or intrinsic? What is your true motive for what you're doing? As that motive changes everything. It makes that difference, as the research shows, between whether that same action will bring you happiness and joy or not, and won't lead to any increase in happiness, but just an illusion. Do you actually want to be part of that community or social circle you're part of? Do you want to eat the food you're eating, marry the person you're planning on marrying, etc.? Why are you dating that supermodel or driving that supercar? Is he or she really someone you love, who also just happens to be very, very hot and attractive? Or are you really just in love with the idea of dating a supermodel? Or and how your friends will look at you with envy or jealousy, or say nice things about you and make you seem cool? Why do you do what you do? Are the things you really want, things you really, really want, or merely things you think you want because somehow it's been programmed into you and doctrine has settled in deep in your mind, as we'll talk about in the next chapter? Are you truly aligned? Are the things you want truly aligned deep down with the way you want to live? Are you doing these things for the journey, intrinsic, or the destination, extrinsic, thinking that will make you happy or popular down the line? Think about this in your own life. Think about the things that have really brought you happiness and the things that you thought would bring you happiness if you achieved them, but ended up giving you that "is there all there is" feeling. You see, most of the times that people say, I want that, it's not really that which they want. We want that because we think it'll bring us something we want, such as happiness, joy, or freedom. It's a means to an end. Once again, we tell ourselves, I'll be happy when I have or have achieved this, we tell ourselves, and we chase things accordingly. We chase things outside of ourselves, thinking they will make us happy and full and whole like money or fame, but they will not in a lasting way and not from within. If anything, money and fame, amongst other external motives, will just amplify what's within. If you're happy within and you're doing things for a deeper purpose and you add money on top of that, you'll enjoy it. But if these extrinsic external motives are your core source of your supposed future happiness, I'll be happy when I have all this money in my bank account, you may end up a little shocked by what you find later on. The more aware we become of this, what we truly, deep down value, want and find meaning in, the more likely we become to not just achieve our ambitions, but to tap into greater happiness and fulfillment in the process. See, while you can achieve a goal, without a strong motive behind it, achievement, you're unlikely to tap into joy and greater fulfillment in the process. What we do and how we do it gives us results, but it's the why that, like fuel in a car, powers it all, as well as gives us a deeper sense of meaning in life. It's why we start with why. Then, once you have the clarity of why, the how, the what, and everything else comes next after you got that foundation. And the goal here is total alignment. That's how you build clarity, piece by piece. Total alignment. Find the how, the what, and tap into the power of intention. Just as your car runs more smoothly and requires less energy to go faster and further when the wheels are in perfect alignment, you perform better when your thoughts, feelings, emotions, goals, and values are in balance. Brian Tracy. The key to achieving your ambitions and living a great life is nothing more than total alignment between your ambitions, your beliefs, thoughts, decisions, and your actions. When you have total alignment, when what you believe, think, say, and decide and do is all moving in the same direction, with time, attainment of your ambitions is almost guaranteed. You will find a way, or if you can't, you will make a way. The challenge is we tend to struggle with alignment. It's not easy to live in a place of true congruence because we are not taught this growing up. However, this doesn't change the goal. To live in total alignment with what we value, want, and find meaning in, where the hows and the whats align with the why. That's the path of true and lasting life meaning. That's the goal and the place that creates a magnificent existence. And now let's look at where you are right now, current reality, so we know the gaps we need to bridge. We, as in the majority, say we want healthy, fit bodies. We want to look good naked, yet we stuff our faces with sugar-filled, modified, unnatural foods that we know will harm our health. We don't exercise regularly like we know we should. It's not that we don't know these things we put in our mouths are bad for us. We do. We're not ignorant. We know that. We know, and we even say these things that we want this as our intention. It's not whether we're not sure whether exercise is truly beneficial. We know it is. It's just that we don't do what we say, a lack of alignment between knowledge and implementation. Or simply put, what we say we want and what we do is misaligned. And that's what leads to a lot of sadness as well as bad results. We say we want a loving relationship, great friendships, great interactions with other incredible people, as well as amazing connection with members of our family, yet we don't devote quality time to this. We're not present in our interactions, we're distracted, and we do things that create conflicts. We say we want to attain financial freedom, build a big business, or change the world in some way, yet we spend our times highly unproductive, meaningless things we know waste our time, and we'll be the first to say that they are a waste of our time. We shy away from taking risks or fail to persevere in the face of challenges. We say we want happiness, joy, and peace, yet we don't take time to be grateful, to forgive, and to be present, living in the moment. And these actions are driven out of misaligned thoughts and feelings, as well as at the core, misaligned beliefs, limiting beliefs rubbing up against our empowering beliefs, pulling you in different directions and creating conflict inside you. Success and happiness just comes back to alignment. Think about it. Think about an area of life in which you do get great results and are most satisfied. Then look at the areas of your life when you get the worst results, match with the most frustration, sadness, guilt, pain, or plain suffering. Ask yourself, what's the difference between the successes and the failures in your life? Between the areas of your life where you're thriving in and those you're struggling with? I may not know you personally, but I can say with confidence that the difference comes down to alignment. In the areas you're more successful and fulfilled in, you're in higher alignment. What you want and what you do is on the same track, the same lane, going in the same direction. It's aligned. While in the areas of your life in which you're not getting the results you want, odds are you're in much lower levels of alignment. What you truly want is far from what you're doing right now. You say you want one thing, yet you're doing another thing. I know this is true in my life. You say you want to, for example, quit smoking, and you tell your friends and family you should never smoke. It's a very bad habit, while you hold a cigarette in one hand and for the fourth time today. Complete lack of alignment. Or another word for it, hypocrisy, the act of being a hypocrite. Or knowing that you should invest or at least save your money instead of splurging it, yet finding yourself on a shopping spree with not just no money, but perhaps even mountains of credit card debt on top of that. It's this lack of alignment that causes the conflicts in our lives, sabotages our achievement, keeps us going in circles, spinning in circles, and blocks us from tapping into greater meaning in life. Plus, just as in one interaction with someone, saying one thing and doing another creates distrust in relationships, in our own lives it creates a distrust and a lack of belief in ourselves, low self-esteem and low self-belief. We begin to doubt ourselves because we feel so off track. Our goal here is to tune into total alignment. Do this and you've taken the most pivotal step in turning ambitions into reality, building self-belief and confidence as well. It's about aligned actions. We think that we feel good or bad because of the right or wrong actions that we take. But really, it's about alignment, the link between actions and ambitions that makes a difference. For example, if you value Mother Earth, the environment, yet find yourself in situations where you know you're harming the environment through your actions, you're likely to feel guilt, sadness, or disappointment. Although you're not really feeling bad because of the specific actions you're taking. Not recycling, driving with a high fuel consumption, using plastic, all this stuff. Those are just actions. That's the what. It's not the actions that make you feel bad as someone else takes those exact same actions and feels no care and just feels normal about it. Why? Because they do not value the environment like you do and its protection like you do. It's not the standalone actions that give us meaning, but their alignment to our ambitions. If you're driven by freedom as a core value of yours, yet you spend your time primarily slaving away at a job you hate, where you absolutely have zero say or choice, you're unlikely to be unhappy. Why? Because there's a lack of alignment between what you value, your core values, and the reality you live in. On the flip side, if you value safety and security more than you value freedom, you'll be less likely to feel trapped in this job you're in, but rather feel safe in it. It's protection. It keeps you alive. You view that same job that someone else feels trapped in very differently because of the alignment to your values. See, at the end of the day, success and fulfillment do not come from taking the supposed right or wrong actions, as society would say, as there are really no one-size-fits-all right things or wrong things for people to do in life. In actuality, people value, want, and desire different things. It's obvious, it's common sense. You may want different things from your life than your neighbor, your friend, or your best buddy. And you may want different things, and they may want different things in life from their family. Different people want different things, and different people find success and feeling of accomplishment and true joy from different things. Which is why we must live for you and your values, not those of others. And if you want different things, it's only logical that your thoughts, feelings, decisions, and actions should differ too. Alignment. Our actions should be the ones that align with what we want, what we value. It's not about right or wrong actions, it's about aligned actions. And when you do what's aligned with what you truly value and want in life, when you live in great and total alignment, you feel a greater charge, energy, and vibrancy in life. Just think back in the past, in those moments where you felt truly alive, truly on purpose, where you felt truly you, your best self. It's in times where you were fully aligned, when what you're doing was on purpose. You felt it. You felt true to yourself, fully who you are, and filled with an inner meaning that guided you to living in that state of being. As to how we begin to tap into this alignment more consistently in our lives, it all starts with the simple yet profound power of intention. When a great painting is painted by a great artist, it is not accidental. Brushstrokes are not just random acts with the hope of coming together. No, they are intentional. Each and every brushstroke is completed with intention, with complete alignment to the end goal of creating an amazing masterpiece. Same applies to the masterful sculptor or the chess master. Each move is done with clear intention, total alignment, and incredible results it leads to. The businesses that thrive operate in the same way, as do the communities, movements, organizations, and individuals. Yet how often do we leave our own lives to randomness? It's a surefire way of not getting what you want. We just go through life going with whatever comes up. We wake up in the morning, check our emails, and spend all day from there, our entire attention reacting to the world around us, going from one aligned activity to another, not stopping to ask ourselves whether what we're doing is truly aligned with what we want, value, and desire from life. Doing things just to pass the time or merely to survive. You must know what you want, what you value, and then map your actions to that through the power of intention. We must be intentional, not to leave our lives to default or to randomness, but to get behind that steering wheel, to grab it, our attention, our results, our emotional reality, and shape that with our decisions and actions. So as you wake up each morning, or before you start anything in your day, ask yourself what you can do that's fully aligned today. Don't go straight into email. Don't go straight into your Facebook feed and get swamped with all of this information from others and social expectations and all of this news and media and all of this, which we'll cover more in later chapters. But think about what will make you align. What will be aligned with what you truly want? What can make this day extraordinary? Just those few seconds of thinking and being proactive instead of reactive can make all the difference. And that's what also will make you take the best decisions and tap into new possibilities. Making the best decisions in life, how to do so. In my work, a lot of people I've taught and coached have asked similar questions along the lines of what should I do or what decision should I make? What's the best decision here? The challenge, these are not questions you can fully answer without first asking yourself, well, what do you want? You can't make the best decision without knowing what you want. This is because, as you now know, it's about alignment that makes a decision an effective or ineffective one. One person could make a decision and it could be the worst possible decision for them. Yet another person could make that same decision, take that same action, yet it turns out to be the best decision they've ever made in their life. It's very subjective. It's why the best decisions are the ones most aligned with your values and ambitions. As you now know, it's the things that are most aligned with what you truly value that are the best use of your time, energy, and attention. And the power of intention is actually your ability to stick to this in your life, to look at the countless things that you could do each and every day and be selective, intentional in the things you do and don't do, using that choice. And as to how to fully harness the power of intention and make the best possible decisions, look through your schedule, list of opportunities or potential to-dos for the day, and ask yourself, is this all in alignment with what I really want in life? In fact, in my life, the number one question that keeps me on track, helps me plan, and enables me to make the best decisions is very simply this one. I want to give it to you here. Are my thoughts, decisions, and actions aligned with my ambitions right now? Let me repeat that. Are my thoughts, decisions, and actions aligned with my ambitions right now? It's a question I ask myself many times a day sometimes if I need to. When I'm doing things that I know I shouldn't be doing, asking this question quickly pulls me out of those, reminding me that I should find something that's more meaningful for me. Alignment is over there, it shows me. And when I am on track, it reinforces that and helps me build momentum. This question acts like a GPS, a navigation device, guiding me, you, or anybody that uses it to the destination you want and the journey, the path you want to get there compared to some random destination and path you never wanted to visit in the first place. So I implore you to ask yourself this question as you go through the hours in your day, the days in your week, and the weeks in your month and year, as it will serve you to truly align your decisions and actions with the values and ambitions that you want. And when you have important decisions to make in your life, big decisions, step back for a moment in what you truly value and ask yourself, what do I want first? And then make the action, make the decision that best aligns with what you want. Not what your friend tells you, not what your family member tells you. You can get their opinion, but ultimately it comes down to make the decision that's most aligned with what you want. And lastly, here's a great tool, a framework of sorts to help you further. A tool for total alignment. The 5 W's and 1 H is a foundational journalism and story tool designed to help create a more complete, full, coherent, and congruent and aligned story, which omits fewer details and better covers the full spectrum of what actually happened in that story. And it's a framework I've adapted into this environment to help us assess our actions and move towards total alignment. In the book here, you would see a graphic that's basically a ladder. A ladder with 6 different steps on it. At the bottom, you have why, motive. Then above that, you have how or method. Above that, you have what, action. Above that on the ladder, you have who, responsibility. Above that, you have where, location. And above that, at the top of the ladder, you have when, time. A ladder, 6 steps with those 6 words in it. See, at any given moment, no matter what you're doing, all 6 of these play a part and build on top of one another. Why, how, what, who, where, and when. Firstly, the why. Everything you do has a motive to it. Even if that motive is, hey, I'm bored and I have nothing better to do, so why not? That's a motive within itself. And simply put, we do things for a reason. Plus, it's that reason behind our actions which, more than anything, as we covered a lot in detail in this chapter here, impacts the results and especially the happiness and fulfillment we get from what we do. Secondly, the how. This is your method of doing something. You can do the same task, yet you can do it differently and get very different results. How you do what you do differentiates you from others. It's your unique style. It's the expression of your why. And it's about finding the best, most aligned methods and strategies for doing what you want. Thirdly, the what. This is the specific actions you take in each hour, each day, the week, month, year. This is the tangible, the visible. Different people do different things. And again, what you do in life is an expression of who you are. People should not be like robots, machines, or slaves, all doing the exact same thing that they were told to do, but rather should do different things as the things that are aligned with what they truly want. Next, the who. Who is about people and responsibility. Who is doing the task at hand? Is it just you or someone doing it with you or for you? Are you going to after this goal alone or are you part of a team working together? And who is in that team? It's another important area we must bring into alignment. The idea of surrounding yourself with like-minded people and spending time with those who value what you value falls into this category. For example, in various studies, employees who work alongside people who they actually like report greater job satisfaction. The job is exactly the same, yet the people who are in the job alongside them actually makes them enjoy the actual task itself more. After that, the where, location and physical environment, is another important thing that impacts your level of success and happiness in life. Put yourself in environments that align with your values and you'll find greater meaning, connection, joy, and fulfillment in what you do. And you can do this intentionally. Lastly, the when. This is about timing. When are you doing certain things? Is your timing in alignment with what you want? For some, they find it much better, more effective, and enjoyable to do certain things at certain periods of time, while others prefer other timings. Once again, it's about aligning this with what you want and value. You can do the right thing at the wrong time and get the wrong results, even though it's the right thing. Timing, or when. And don't worry, just like we've gone in depth into the how so far, we'll go deep into all these other areas over the course of this audiobook as well. Now, let's put this together. Let's look at an example of great alignment versus poor alignment and how it's likely to affect performance, results, and happiness. Imagine you're working on a project that's meaningful to you, and you're doing it because you love the cause you're working on supporting, a well-aligned why. You're very passionate about the thing you're doing, and likely you would do it in your spare time as a hobby or something, even if you weren't paid for it. You're also taking very specific actions that others haven't taken before that allow you to do to better serve this cause than others have done in the past to express yourself uniquely. You're clear on what gives you the edge and have total clarity regarding the things you'll do today, tomorrow, next week, and next month to bring the project to success. The why, the how, and the what. Confidence is on your side. You're also working on this project with a team of like-minded people who are equally passionate about the cause. They value what you value. They're not working for the money primarily, but out of passion. In fact, many of them turned away higher paying jobs to work here in this lower paying one because they love the organization and the project, what it stands for. They are proactive, finding solutions, not dwelling on issues. They are passionate, hardworking, and make stuff happen. They kick butt. And mixed into that, you also connect with them so well. You have so much to talk about, so much in common and similar values to those you work with on this project. Just imagine that. They are like friends, not just co-workers, sharing similar values and interests. The team is great and you love working alongside them. That's the who. Additionally, you're working in a very specific office space perhaps, fully aligned with the cause. For example, if the cause is about the environment, this is an environmentally friendly, natural office you absolutely adore. It's beautiful. If it was a different cause, it might be a different office space that perfectly aligns with that. You have all the resources you need to carry out the project, and everything you may need later is in close proximity, physical proximity to you. Like a great small cozy cafe in the perfect location, you're in the perfect place to make things happen. That's the where. Lastly, you have schedules and timelines that you're happy with. They are ambitious but allow you to work on your own terms and make great things happen. You have autonomy and can work when you work best, as can the others in the team. And you do. You work when you want and create great work. That's the when. That's an example of great alignment based on this framework above. Each of those 6 areas is in total alignment and working together. And I hope you can clearly see how each of them builds to create greater success as well as greater happiness and fulfillment. This is something you can apply personally and professionally if you're a leader or in a corporate world. Whatever it is, you can apply this framework into many areas of your life. In fact, for a contrasting view, feel free to read this example again, this time taking alignment out of certain parts. Imagine everything else is there, but now the project you're working on, the only thing that has changed, is meaningless and useless. The why is gone. Or the project is meaningful, but the way you're doing things doesn't align with you and the cause. The how or the what is gone. Or everything else is great, but you're working with people you don't like working with, who constantly complain, find fault, do the least amount possible, don't contribute, and don't share similar values. See how taking any one of these things out of alignment can change everything? How one piece out of place can take away from the whole, like a stain on an otherwise amazing, beautiful, clean shirt. When we tune into higher and higher alignment, we do more, achieve more, and in the process love what we do and find great meaning and value in it. Hence, we should strive for great alignment in what we do. Exercise. 6 areas of total alignment. This is an opportunity for you to personalize and put into practice the power of this tool you just listened to. You can pause this right now after you listen to this brief for this exercise. Take 10 minutes minimum. Pick an area or a project in your life that you want to start with or continue working on and journal on how these 6 areas would look like in a perfect world or not. How would you like them to look and what can you do to make this happen? While this instruction is rather general and open, that's the point. You can get creative here when assessing and planning areas of your life, but use it. Don't just listen to this and forget. Put this into practice, as that's how you get value from a book, an audiobook, or any other form of information, by implementing it. And this is an exercise for you to do it. Ambition circles. 3 categories of ambition. You can do what you want to do. You can be who you want to be. Dave Thomas. The next framework for understanding human ambition and planning your amazing future is titled Ambition Circles. See, all ambitions, aspirations, and goals fall into one of 3 categories, and it's by understanding these 3 categories of ambition that you can gain even greater clarity. All of this section here is designed to get you clarity, because when you know that, it can change everything for you. Get you clarity into why you do, what you value most, and where to from here. So let's explore. And here in the book, you would see a graphic very similar to the other ones, ambition circles, the 3 categories of human ambition. In the middle, you see an inner circle that says personal, then an outer circle around that says social, and a bigger outer circle around those 2 inner circles says creational. The first of these 3 categories is personal. This is about who you are, your identity, your mind, your body, thinking and feeling. It's about introspection and taking care of your mind and body through focus, time, learning, growth, and care. Goals related to this first category of ambition are around a certain type of person you want to become, thinking a certain way, learning certain topics, or developing certain skills, as well as looking in a certain way, having good health, having energy, and meaning in life, all fall into this first category. These are personal ambitions. They come from within, and no one else is required for you to achieve these ambitions. You could be the only person alive and still become a certain type of person and fulfill your personal goals. It's within your control and come with the greatest choices in life. Beyond this one, the first category, goals about meeting certain people, building certain friendships, having certain relationships, having certain social experiences, friendships, relationships, romantic connection, and love, all fall into the second category of goals called social. While personal ambitions are about you and who you want to become, what you want to know, experience, be able to do, etc. Social aspirations are about relating with others. How do you want to relate to and share the experience of living with people close to you? What type of shared experiences and emotions do you want to have? How much connection, trust, love do you want to experience together, and with who? Journal on all these questions as I asked them in this audiobook. Lastly, goals related to creating anything beyond yourself fall into the third category, called relational ambitions. This third category includes everything from wanting to build a business, start an organization or foundation, to building a movement around a certain cause, to aspirations such as publishing a book, writing a screenplay, releasing an album, creating a painting, building your dream house, or owning your dream car. Anything you've created beyond yourself, including wealth, impact, a legacy, or a difference, falls into this third category. And the reason this third category is titled creational is firstly because these are things that don't just happen, rather you create them. And create is simply defined as bring something into existence. Bring something into existence. You turn something that didn't previously exist, except in your thoughts, feelings, and imagination, into something others can visually see, observe, interact with, and get value from. That's the first reason. You're creating things all the time, even if you don't think you are. And secondly, it's because from you. It comes from you. You're creating it. Just like a child takes on the traits and influence from parents, which we'll talk about more in the psychology section of this audiobook, creational feats such as books, movies, songs, paintings, companies, organizations, and movements take on the traits of their creators, or you. Apple is known for its design because the company took on that personality and influence from its founder, its creator, Steve Jobs. Tesla and SpaceX are brands that are fundamentally embody the personality of Elon Musk. How Elon Musk thinks is similar to how these companies think. And the same applies to any creation that comes from the imagination, intent, and effort of an individual, whether that's a book, movie, painting, song, or organization. To see this in action, the next time you read, listen to, or watch someone's creation, study the person behind the creation. Watching Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, or the Matrix movies next week? Get online and read about J.R.R. Tolkien, George Lucas, or the Wachowski siblings. You'll realize how their identities, who they were, shaped their creations. And the same will happen for anything you create because you are the one creating it based on your outlook of the world. Like women birth children, authors birth books, screenwriters birth screenplays, musicians birth music, and business owners birth products and services. You create, bring into existence that which did not previously exist. And while the comparison may seem strange between children and albums or screenplays, it's a rather accurate one, a surprisingly accurate one. Although I never know this from personal experience, I've talked with enough mothers who are also creators to see this strange comparison. In fact, as Ruby Wax wrote at the start of her book, How to Be Human, after writing my last book, I said to myself, never again. It's like having a baby. You're in such pain during the birth, all you want to do is chew your arm off. It's the same with writing a book, except you're diluted for more than a year, but when you finally comes out and thrives, hits #1 on that bestseller list, oh my god, all you want to do is get fertile and do it again. That's what she wrote in the introduction of her book. And I've also found it's those who do look at what they do this way that gets the most meaning from what they create. Their work, career, hobbies, and passions are just that, but something more as well. Almost like a form of parenting. Giving birth to new things, creations, and then caring to ensure those things navigate through life, helping others and contributing to a better world. Everything that comes out of you is a creation of sorts, and every goal to create something beyond yourself falls into this third category, creational ambitions. Knowing these three categories of human ambition, this framework, this tool, enables us, once again, to think about more things, to gain more clarity about our lives. It allows you to assess whether you've really stopped to think about these three categories and what you want in each of them. Who do you want to become? What type of person? If you were to describe who you are, would you like the description and what it looks like? What knowledge, experiences, and skills do you want to develop? Who do you want to become? What do you want to get good at? What would make you feel like you were your best self? Personal ambitions. Who do you want to surround yourself with? Who do you want to spend time with, care for, and support? Who do you want in an intimate relationship, in friendships, family connections? And how do you want those relationships to look? How do you want to relate to others? What shared moments, adventures, and experiences do you want to have? And who do you want to have them with? What would make those experiences amazing? Social ambitions. What do you want to create beyond yourself? How do you want to express your unique abilities and ideas into the world? How do you want to contribute beyond yourself if you do? What would make you feel truly alive in your work, career, hobbies, and passions? What do you want to bring into existence that may not otherwise be created? Creational ambitions. And all of those are great questions, so you can go back in the audiobook and play those as you journal on that as well. Also, you can ask yourself, which of these three categories are you most drawn to? All three? Or are you more drawn to a certain one? I say this because depending on your meaning of life, what you value most, you may be more drawn to a certain category. How it comes together. Meaning of life. For example, if your meaning of life is your core values are about peace, acceptance, and spirituality, seeking some type of spiritual experiences, you may highly prioritize the first of the three categories, personal, introspection, within. You're more likely to enjoy time alone with yourself, as that quality personal time is an important time for you to find peace within yourself, to enjoy the present moment and little things that fill the world with beauty. You may be less likely to put other things into the world or get highly involved in the lives of others, as you're on your own journey of introspection, self-discovery, acceptance, and spirituality, which is of greatest significance to you. There's no right or wrong here. It's about knowing yourself, knowing who you are and who you want to be. In another example, if your meaning of life is connection and love, then you may be more likely to look outwards into your social circles, as this matters a lot to you. The social category of ambitions. You're less likely to enjoy time alone but prefer spending time with others. Where you are matters less than who you are with. You care about giving, about loving and helping others, and you're likely to have more goals that reflect this, asking yourself, what can I do for others? Or how can I be a better friend, partner, lover, family member, member of society? Lastly, if your meaning of life is to express yourself, to create, to innovate and bring new things into the world, driven by the values of perhaps freedom, expression, power or impact, then you're likely to prioritize the third category of creational ambitions. Tapping into creativity and inspiration is important to you. Putting your ideas, inspirations, and opportunities out into the world matters a lot to you. Creating something, whether that's poetry, a new invention, or a big organization, is important to you. Helping not just an individual, but changing the world as a whole in your own little or big way. Once again, I can't stress this enough. There are no wrong or right answers here in life. We are most fulfilled when we tune into what we truly want, and this is another framework to help you reflect on what really matters for you. All three of these categories impact you, but some may impact you more than others. You may matter more to you, be more important for you, and that's okay. Work with that, and it'll give you great meaning. And this too can change throughout your life. It all can, as change is life's only constant. What's important is that we are constantly putting ourselves in situations where we can zoom out of daily life, the little moments and situations and activities, the busyness of life, and think about the big picture. Asking ourselves big existential questions like the ones here in this chapter. That's how clarity is built and new opportunities for success open up. Exercise. Set your true ambitions. This chapter has the potential to change your life in more ways than you can even imagine right now. However, only if you take the time to put everything in this chapter into your life. Reading listening to, here, consuming new information is not enough if you don't act on it. And that's why this exercise is here, to challenge you to block out 30 minutes minimum, go back through the profound concepts and understandings in this chapter and put them into practice. During those 30 minutes, explore yourself, your past, present actions and results, and everything you want to see in the future and how it all affects you. Ask yourself, first, big picture. What do you truly want in life? What gives your life meaning? What is the meaning of life for you? Who do you want to be? Who do you want to become? And what will truly make your life a magnificent masterpiece? Just as you would plan a holiday, it's time to plan your life for maximum joy, freedom, peace, fulfillment, and meaning. In the past, where the goals you are pursuing may have been based on extrinsic motives, you may have realized in this chapter, hey, maybe I want to explore this intrinsic motivation. Maybe I want to enjoy the journey more. How can you do that? Reflect on that and put it into practice. What life ambitions would you love to spend your life pursuing, achieving, and the journey towards? What makes you feel truly alive? What ambitions do you have for your life based on the Ambition Circles framework, in which all ambitions, goals, fall into the three categories of personal, social, and creational ambitions? What goals do you have in each of these categories, and which ones matter more? Who do you want to become? How do you want to relate to others in your world? What do you want to create? Look out 2, 5, 10, or even 20 years into the future, your whole life. What does your ideal life and lifestyle look like? What does your ideal day, week, month, and year look like? Now let's zoom in a bit. What ambitions would be truly meaningful for you to pursue over the next 6 to 12 months? What goals do you have for this week, this month, or this quarter that will inspire you and excite you to pursue? Each and every single one of these questions can be pondered on for hours, each one. In fact, do that and clarity is almost guaranteed. So take time to think about each question deeply, to think about your life deeply and fully. Exercise. Number 1, diary entry from the future. Imagine you had just lived a great day in your life 1 year from now, and you're going to bed. You stop to think about before you go to bed and reflect on and write about the great day you just had. Take 5 minutes right now and journal on this day as if this day, 1 year in the future, had just happened and was now in your past. Design your perfect day and write about it as if it had already happened, including the details, feelings, and what made this day so incredible in your eyes. As you write it, ask yourself, what time did you wake up? What was the first thing you did in the morning? What did you think about as you started your day? How did you feel? What main activities did you do during the day, and why did you find great joy in these? Include descriptions of all 6 of the areas of total alignment, including who you were with, what you did, and how you did it. This is a simple exercise, yet it's profound because it's not only will help you gain great clarity as to what your perfect day looks like, but it will also make you feel as if that day already happened, which will raise your emotions right now, today, not 1 year in the future. You can choose to repeat this exercise regularly to remind yourself and your reticular activating system what really matters to you and what it should look out for and create. Constant clarity crystallization. Test, taste, experiment, and experience more. Before we wrap up this chapter on clarity, I want to share with you one more critical thing that will help you crystallize what you want and tap into greater levels of clarity and success in life. What you read and listened to so far is profound content which has been curated and crafted to make you think, reflect, and plan, to help you really step back and think about the big picture, to support you in looking inwards and finding answers to life's questions. However, this is just the beginning, as clarity, like self-mastery as a whole, is an everlasting, ever-expanding process. Your life is a constant journey of recognizing, refining, and crystallizing what you want and adjusting accordingly to live in total alignment and create a great life. And this leads us onto this one strategy, outside of reflection, for continuing your journey of clarity. This strategy is simple, and it's simply this: to immerse yourself in possibilities, to test, taste, and experience more. It's basic, it's very simple, but it really is the key to ongoing clarity. The reality is that unless you first see, hear, or experience something, gain awareness that it even exists or could exist, it won't be inside your scope of what you think about and what you think you can do. If people don't know an island exists, for example, it's never been seen before, people don't know that it's possible to travel there or have a holiday there. However, as soon as the island is discovered, experienced, and charted on the map for the first time, now that possibility opens up. And just like humans have outlined the countries on the planet, putting them on the map, you must go outside of the known to find new things and put them on your map for your life. For clarity and greater possibility, you must test, taste, experiment, experience more. Each time you do this, you now expand your awareness and better understand what you want or don't want. This allows you to better plan your future, condition and prime and program your mind to help you achieve it, make better decisions, and live a better life. One of the reasons, of many, that families in poor countries sewing clothes for $2 per day, for example, never go beyond this is that they simply don't know what else is out there. There are many reasons, but that's one of them. Imagine being born in a small village somewhere in the middle of nowhere with no connection to modern society. Of course your thinking would be limited and your ambitions wouldn't go anything beyond get a good $2 per day job and survive, as nothing else is within your awareness. You don't know about a lot of the possibilities that most people in the modern world are aware of. The key here is to immerse yourself in possibilities. This is why, fueled by curiosity, we must continue to do things outside of what's familiar to expand our awareness. To immerse ourselves in new possibilities and opportunities, we must test, taste, experiment, and experience new things, and then reflect on those things, as that's a powerful combination of constant experimentation and thoughtful reflection that will give you new answers, awaken new possibilities for you, so that you can tune into them, possibilities that may not have existed for you in your mind before. So if you're lacking clarity as to which career path you should take, for example, what you want your perfect partner to look like, what type of lifestyle you want, you now know what you need to do. It's simple, but the answer that's going to get you the result, and that answer is to test, taste, experience, and experiment, constantly reflecting the process as you've done in this chapter to gain clarity, first and foremost, awareness and clarity. For example, you may not know of a certain instrument ever even existed until you went to a music store and saw it on display. You then searched it online and saw someone playing that instrument. You thought it was very cool, so you bought one, taught yourself to play, and became your amazing career. Before, you didn't know that instrument even existed. You had never heard of it. So if someone asked you what you wanted to do for your career in the future, you wouldn't have been able to give them a proper clarified answer, as the thing you ended up doing and loving was something that you didn't even know was a thing. The more you experience and think about what you're experiencing, reflecting on it, the more you can scope what you want to do, be, and achieve it. To find the things that will truly light you up, you must do a lot of things, knowing that each thing will lead you somehow down the path to something truly amazing. I'm incredibly grateful that my parents introduced this outlook on clarity and finding what you want into my life early on. Growing up, we did everything, me and my brother. We played many sports, multiple instruments, traveled a lot, seeing a lot of different places, cultures, and people, learned dozens of topics, pursued many interests and hobbies, and this allowed us to develop clarity very quickly, very early on in life, and set us up for a great life. It's one of the main reasons why I was able to discover my career path, my mission, when I was 14 years of age, because of this constant experimentation. Test, taste, experience, experiment. Do more and you will have more to reflect on. Reflect on more and you will have more answers. It's simple, yet most people overlook it. They will overlook this powerful strategy for clarity. Don't do that. Use this and take action on it. And ultimately, Paulo Coelho's quote conveys this best. Be present. Make love. Make tea. Avoid small talk. Embrace conversation. Buy a plant. Water it. Make your bed. Make someone else's bed. Have a smart mouth and a quick wit. Run. Make art. Create. Swim in the ocean. Swim in the rain. Take chances. Ask questions. Make mistakes. Learn. Know your worth. Love ferociously. Forgive quickly. Let go of what doesn't make you happy. Grow. That's his quote. Paulo Coelho. And it's profound. Doing all these things and seeing what makes you happy. What allows you to grow. That's how you build clarity, piece by piece. With each question, with each new experience, with each new test, with each moment spent pondering life's infinite possibilities, as we talked about in chapter number 1, and countless opportunities, you gain clarity. By knowing that clarity is a lifelong process of exploring reality, life, and possibility, what you value and what you want. Know that. Keep that in mind and then live out this process, tapping into clarity, gaining awareness, and tuning into new possibilities.